In the last video, we talked about what a markup language is and what HTML is made of. In this video, we'll be talking about the document object model. Let's first take a look at the HTML code from the last video. Do you remember what a root tag was? Remember how I said that it's the outermost tag in the document? In this HTML example, the root tag would be the HTML tag, and we call this the root element. Inside of it, it contains two other elements, head and body. In this case, we say that both the head and body are the children of the HTML element. So that would make the HTML element the parent. The HTML element is the parent of both the head and body. And we can also see that the head element is not just a child, but it's also a parent. It's the parent of the element title and link. The body element has 5 children, H1, P, IMG, BR, and P. And among those, this specific P element has the child B, and this specific P element has a child A. These parent-child relationships are formed throughout the whole document, and all elements in the HTML document would be part of this structure. So if we visualize the elements of a document, it would look something like this, like an upside-down tree. We call this the document object model, or DOM for short. When the browser is loading a web page, it automatically builds a DOM of the web page from the HTML source code. The model describes HTML elements as objects, and these objects are then shown on your screen by the browser. Let me show you something cool. I use Chrome as a browser, so I'll open the Chrome Developer Tools. Here, you get to see the HTML of the website that's currently open. Remember how we learned that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files are downloaded from the server to your computer? Because of that, with this tool, we are able to see the front-end source code for any web page. You can go to any website on the internet and see its HTML, CSS, and the front-end JavaScript code. This is the HTML for JomaClass.com. Do you see anything familiar? We first see the doc type, which is saying that this should be interpreted as HTML5. And then we see HTML, the head tag, and the body tag. And if you unfold these parent elements, you can see its children. And its children would have other children, and more and more. You can see a lot of tags that we don't know about, but we'll just ignore them for now. What I want to show you here is the structure of this HTML document. This HTML will be built into a document object model, which is shown to us as the JomaClass webpage. Okay, so going back, you might think that our example looks pretty simple and boring. We don't have any interactive behaviors, an image is just an image, and a paragraph is just some words. Nothing happens when my cursor gets near them. Nothing happens when I click on them. But a scripting language such as JavaScript can let us interact with these objects. DOM is like a standard for accessing elements in a document, and we can use JavaScript to manipulate properties of the DOM objects to provide dynamic and interactive user experiences such as form validation, animated graphics, interactive maps, and many more. We will learn about JavaScript in more detail in another video, but let's just have a little peek at it to see how we can interact with the DOM objects. Imagine a web page that has 2 P elements, and with JavaScript, the first one has been programmed to change its color when it is clicked, and the second one will change its size. The body of this web page has 3 children, script and 2 P elements. The script element is where the JavaScript lives, and it will access the DOM elements and control them. Right now in the DOM, you can see that the style attribute of both paragraph elements are the same. They're both black in color and have 30 points as font size. When the first paragraph is clicked, JavaScript accesses the element and changes its style from color black to color orange. Then your browser reads these changes in the DOM and reflects the changes onto the screen. The same goes for the second paragraph. When it's clicked, JavaScript changes the style within the DOM from font size 30 points to font size 20 points, and then the browser reflects that change. Similar to how we change the style of these two P elements, we can also add new elements to the document. We can create an element with JavaScript and tell it to append it as a child when a paragraph is clicked. We can also remove elements or replace it with another element. Whatever changes we can make to the DOM with JavaScript, the browser will read the changes and then reflect the changes onto the web page. Just think of JavaScript as a set of instructions that tell the objects in the DOM how to behave and react to a user's actions on a browser. It's what brings life to a web page, because a web page without JavaScript is just a collection of elements, unresponsive to any user input. At this point, you might ask, what is the difference between HTML and DOM? They represent the same elements, contain the same attributes of the elements, and form the same hierarchical structure. So they seem to be the same thing, right? Well, actually not. Think of the HTML source code as a blueprint and the browser as a builder. The DOM is what the builder produces according to the blueprint. HTML is just a piece of writing, a recipe, or an instruction, but DOM is the actual model of the document, and it is independent from the language that was used to build it. Remember how I said that there is HTML5, but there are also different kinds of HTMLs? HTML4 and XHTML. You can write out a document object model using different types of markup languages like these ones. In that case, the source code will be different, but they'll all be representing the same model. When we learned about how JavaScript manipulates the DOM, think about why I said manipulates the DOM and not the HTML. If we write some JavaScript code to create a new child under this paragraph element whenever we click on it, you can see that the new child will appear on the DOM each time we click it. But the HTML remains the same. This is because the browser reads the HTML and builds a DOM, and after that, the JavaScript can do whatever it wants to the DOM, changing it and adding children, and then the browser shows that on your screen. But it doesn't affect the original HTML. The original HTML stays the same. In this video, we talked about what the document object model is and how JavaScript can interact with it to change the appearance of the web page. In the next video, we will talk about cascading style sheet, aka CSS. I'll see you in the next one.